Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Liam Paro because he's made a major move within his boxing trajectory. He has moved up from super lightweight to welterweight and is calling for a fight against Manny Pacquiao. Now let's talk about Liam Paro, former IBF champion. Wins it against Abril Matias, loses it against Richardson Hitchens, has a comeback fight in Australia earlier this year in Cairns against Jonathan Thunder Navarro. So, Liam Paro, he's now, because he's now at welterweight. Most recently ranked 4 in the WBO, 3 in the IBF, 5 in the WBC, and 5 in ring within the super lightweight division. Obviously, he'll probably forego those very quickly because he's going to make a start at welterweight. The most impressive ranking of his is that 3 in the IBF because number 1 and 2 spot were actually vacant, so technically he was the number 1 contender within that division. And he was set after that fight against Jonathan Navarro to be put in a fight against Mexican fighter Lindolfo Delgado. And that fight was deemed a title eliminator with the winner to face Richardson Hitchens for the IBF super lightweight title. Alright, so that brings us to now. This announcement came to a bit of a shock to me. Wasn't expecting it. I was expecting Liam Paro to take this fight against Lindolfo Delgado and try and win his belt back at IBF. But he made it clear in his interview that he can no longer really sustain fighting at super lightweight. He needs to make the move up. He's been fighting at super lightweight for 10 years now. Obviously with age, the weight cuts become more and more brutal. So, he's got his now sights set on welterweight glory. I do want to start by talking about probably what his options are going into this. Because he's got a lot of options to go for soon. I don't think his options are very open right now. There is some huge names in welterweight right now. It is definitely one of the more glamorous divisions in the sport right now. Like, if we think about some of the names, especially the ones that bring money, Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney are about to put on a major fight. Rolly Romero and Ryan Garcia looking for a rematch. We've just seen Barrios and Pacquiao put on a big fight. So some of those names, any of those names to fight and put on your resume is not only impressive, but it's a major payday for you. The problem for me is Liam Paro hasn't left a division where he was champion or most recently in a title fight. If you look at someone like Jerome Boots Ennis, he's just sort of vacated his belts at welterweight to move up to super welterweight. And what advantage that gives him is he was a champion moving up a division, which means he automatically gets bumped straight to the front of the queue, probably one fight away from a title fight, if not in the conversation for an immediate title fight. Liam Paro, he lost his title, had sort of a comeback fight against Jonathan Thunder Navarro to set up another title run. It's not a position of great power. One thing that does work in the favour of Liam Paro is he is leaving super lightweight on a win. He's leaving it. His last 3 fights were winning a title, losing a title, and another big win. It's not awful. He's highly ranked in lots of the governing bodies. Those will transition, though without the belt moving up, it is going to be harder for him to find these big fights. For me, I think Liam Paro is probably 2 fights away from fighting for a title. And for me, if he wants one of these big names, he'll have to be fighting for a title. But if he wants one of these big names in Australia, he'll have to have his hands on a title. So we're probably looking, if Liam Paro wants to put on a show in Australia with one of these big names, I think he needs to get his hands on a title. Even when he had the title at super lightweight, he still had to go to fight Richardson Hitchens. He didn't bring Richardson Hitchens here. We have seen some big names, Vasily Lomachenko and Devin Haney most recently in Australia. We have seen Manny Pacquiao here previously, but to be honest, lots of these come down to money. and what you're offering. And right now, Liam Paro isn't offering much. And the money isn't going to compare to the money that these guys are getting fighting under Ring and Seller. So, for me, if Liam Paro's going to just... Liam Paro's on a multi-fight deal with No Limit Promotions. If I was to probably say what I think his roadmap is from here, is probably a bit of a gimme fight to get into the welterweight division, then fighting someone low in the top 15, followed by probably a title eliminator. If you can fast track it, you fight someone in the top 15 and you get yourself into a title eliminator, and don't worry about dipping your toes in, you just try and run straight on. I would probably like to see him up against someone like Rohan Palenko, the number 7 WBO. He's just beaten Quinton Randall on the Zayas Perez card. He's not a massive name. He is known, but he's not huge. Like, he fought on that card. Must have been third or fourth fight before the title fight. And you need someone like that, because you're going to fight someone that's ranked quite high in the division, and someone that is... I believe Rohan Palenko is still undefeated, if I'm right. I don't think he's actually lost yet. Good amateur as well. If he wants a harder test... he could probably go for maybe Stanionis or Catterall or Eko Usman. If he wants sort of probably the easiest one that I would say, well, not easiest, but one that's not got a major name and it's probably easier to make, I'd probably say Victor Ezequiel Rodriguez. He does still offer... Liam Paro still does offer a big name to these guys. If Rohan Palenko gets an offer on his table today that says to fight Liam Paro, probably in America, to be honest, it's probably the only doable place. I'd be surprised if they could flow out someone like Palenko to Australia. But either way, Rohan Palenko would probably take that fight, because Liam Paro is a former world champion and it's a good name to put on. It's a much better name to have on your resume than, no offense to Quinton Randall, but his name, if that makes sense. Eko Usman, he's come off a big win against Josh Taylor. I still reckon that guy's worthy of really trying to put his name into the title contention, but I think he still needs another fight. Stanionis is coming off a heavy defeat to Boots Ennis in the division, and Jack Catterall. We all know what Jack Catterall offers. So that would be my opinion. I'd probably put him in against someone like Rohan Palenko, but I think we're going to need to see a few fights before we see Liam Paro really being able to make a case to fight someone like Manny Pacquiao. The fact is, someone like Manny Pacquiao has just put in an incredible performance and a draw in a world title fight. That means Manny Pacquiao almost... he's the one in charge. He'll make the rules. He's been bumped to... he's in the top 10, I think, by Ring now. And he's still high in the WBC. So, I think he's 5 or 7 in the Ring, if I remember. So, there's a lot of stocks in Manny Pacquiao, and he's a big money fight. I think he got $12 million for fighting Barrios, so that's the sort of paycheck that you're going to have to sort of offer him to fight him, if not probably more. But Pacquiao's options now are quite open, but probably not quite open for a title fight. Rolly Romero has a fight, Brian Norman Jr. has a fight, Crocker and Donovan have a fight, and Mario Barrios, he just fought, and doesn't sound like there's any talk for a rematch. Alright, I want to really quickly talk about some of the heavyweight news that's come out. We'll start with the Ring rankings. Ring has now put champion as Usyk, obviously, and then Fury, Parker, Caballero, Dubois. Dubois being dropped to 4 from 2. Parker and Caballero both going up 1 slot. The one thing that confuses me, and this is the only reason I bring it up, obviously we were expecting Dubois to be dropped down, but I just don't get why Tyson Fury is still number 1. There's no difference between Fury and Dubois right now. Fury, Dubois, both former champions. Dubois is actually the most recent former champion. Fury has been inactive and retired, and is on 2 defeats. Why is he still number 1, apart from the fact that we know Turkey wants to make Usyk vs Fury 3? Realistically, if I was doing these rankings, with Fury retiring, I'd probably have him not in there at all, but if you were to put him in there, I think it should be Usyk, Parker, Caballero, Dubois, Fury. That's not to discount what Fury has done. It's to talk about what Fury has done recently, and that's what these rankings are. They are, what have you done for me recently? Parker is on a tremendous win streak. So is Caballero. Dubois is only one loss recently, and it was a title fight for Undisputed. And Dubois went into that fight with a belt. Fury has been inactive, and his last fight he fought without a belt. So that's just my thoughts. I think Turkey is really trying to get this Usyk Fury one. To be honest, we're going to talk about AJ as well, but AJ versus Fury is the one to make, and Parker versus Usyk is the other one. So we'll finish this video talking about Anthony Joshua, because he has been heavily rumoured to be facing Tony Yoka. Fury is set to fight in November. I think that's when he wants to fight. And Tony Yoka has been recently signed to Queensberry Promotions. So AJ and Matchroom and Yoka versus Queensberry, it's all aligning. I think these are more than rumours, if I'm being honest. I think this is the fight that's more than likely going to be made. Obviously, the other fight that's being set to make is AJ versus Jake Paul. Alright, I got a quote here from Nikisa Badarian. Now, if you don't know who Nikisa Badarian is, he's almost Jake Paul's right-hand man at MVP. I do believe he's a co-founder. If you've watched any MVP promotions and you've seen Jake Paul, the guy next to him is Nikisa Badarian. He spoke to Sky Sports about AJ versus Jake Paul. He said, this fight can absolutely happen. Two of AJ's losses came against Usyk. Usyk weighed 220 pounds for those fights. Jake is not Usyk, but Jake fought Tyson at 228 pounds. So size-wise, we can get comfortable. We're actively discussing it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan. I think this is the biggest talking point coming out of this is, why is he being compared to Usyk? I don't think he's trying to compare to Usyk. I can see the angle, and it's probably very cheeky to even put Usyk's name in that. Because the fact is, Usyk was able to go with AJ and Tyson Fury because Usyk is one of the greatest boxers we've ever seen. Just unbelievable skill. The fact is, Jake Paul is nowhere near that. Jake Paul, if anything, in my opinion, is only as successful as he's been because he's been the more youthful and the bigger fighter in most of these fights. You look at his fight against Mike Perry. Mike Perry is tiny compared to him. I don't see him outboxing AJ, and he's not going to do what Dubois did and outgun him, outmuscle him. If I'm AJ's manager, if I'm Eddie Hearn, if there's a way in which you can get a Jake Paul fight, I'd be taking a Jake Paul fight every day over Tony Yoka, because the fact is, you beat Tony Yoka, you beat Jake Paul, it's not going to really make much difference. We're not going to say, whoa, wow, we beat Tony Yoka, he's coming, he's here, he's going to go for it, he's better than Fury because he beat Tony Yoka. That's not how it's going to work. It's going to be a warm-up fight. Either it's Yoka or Jake. The only difference is Jake is a massive payday and a much easier fight, because the fact is Tony Yoka is a better boxer and a better fighter than I think Jake Paul is. So, we've seen this before. These opponents that we're seeing AJ fight, we saw it when he lost to Usyk the second time. He went and fought Otto Volin. He fought Francis Ngannou. He fought, who else did he fight on that run? Robert Helenius. These aren't names that we're going to say, well, this tells me that AJ's back to being AJ. This is a fight to get him out of ring rust and ready to fight Tyson Fury. And I respect that. I think it's right. I think it's right if it happens that way, if he goes in there, beats this person, and then just moves straight on to fight Fury. If we see him fight this guy, then fight another guy, and the Fury one just keeps getting put on the back burner, then I don't know what he's doing it for. He's basically said that this will be his last year. He only wants 2 or 3 more fights, and I'm expecting him to fight a bit of an ordinary boxer, warm up, and then get that super fight that everybody has been dying for ages. In Fury versus AJ. That's just the fight to be made. There is no other fight. That is the fight. I would be happy if they said we're going to do that this November. Neither have warm-ups. They both come out of ring rust. I don't care. I just want to see it happen. Honestly, it's just too long awaited. It's the long awaiting of Conor Benn and Eubank. It's the long waiting of Pacquiao and Mayweather. Let's get this done. Let's see this happen. It's time. Let's do it. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know what you think about AJ and what he's up to. What do you think for Liam Paro next? Like, subscribe if you're new. We're so close to 100. The engagement on this channel is so wonderful. I'm grateful for everyone that has and will subscribe. And we're building this channel. I'm trying to get some other things happening behind the scenes. We'll see how that goes. But the more numbers we can get, the more possible those things are to happen. And yeah, like, subscribe, and I'm out of here, guys. See yous!